More than 60% of Texas's ICU beds are being used to treat COVID-19 patients, which is considered an extreme stress. We've already seen an outpouring of support earlier this week here at the Children's Medical Group for Dr. Dodson and her family. Now there's a network of friends and neighbors who are placing ribbons like these all over town. This is the northwest Austin area of Balboa Lane, where police responded to a call of multiple gunshots. And I'm going to step to the side so you can see this active scene right now. These buses that you see here on your screen, we're also bringing in passengers from the Galveston area. One of Texas's top infectious disease experts told me this may just be the calm before the storm. And this is the same thing that we're seeing even on trees here in downtown Fredericksburg. You can see it kind of glistening, and as well some ice accumulation on the ground. A Good Samaritan was walking along this block on Rotherham Drive when she heard a small child crying from the community mailboxes. You can still see some of the police tape that was put up last night when the shooting happened overnight. This will be the only one of 4 planned drop-off sites in Travis County that will be open starting tomorrow. That vigil is happening right now. I'm going to step to the side so you can get a closer look. Right now they're doing a prayer service in honor of Heidi Broussard and her family. People evacuating from those coastal cities are coming here and taking advantage of this rest stop here at Circuit of the Americas. You can see a lot of cars still in the parking lot here tonight. While it's not unusual to see businesses boarded up here in Austin because of the ongoing pandemic, these businesses behind me are a different story. It's the focus of another emergency item this session that is aimed at keeping dangerous criminals behind bars. Reporting live, Gabriela Vidal, CBS Austin News. In the middle of downtown Dripping Springs.
I usually just started from like noon to maybe sunset, so I mean around 7.
Stands 20-year-old Nifa Kaniga.
Racism doesn't stop because of the heat, so.
With an invitation to ask anything.
It's uncomfortable talking about race. It's uncomfortable having to put yourself out here. But I mean, that's why I put on the sign, make yourself uncomfortable.
As national Black Lives Matter protests sparked by the death of George Floyd continue to happen in major cities, Kaniga wanted to do something different to help more people understand why.
Have something local, because, this is a very, white, conservative town.
For Kaniga,
many people have asked me that, what's up with the All Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter?
No question is too uncomfortable.
Nobody said, only Black Lives Matter or Black Lives Matter more than white lives. We're saying, when Black lives are taken unjustly and nothing's being done about it, it sends the sentiment that Black lives don't matter.
And he knows not everyone will hear what he has to say.
Everybody has their opinion for a reason. And I think having empathy and, just trying to understand, where are you coming from in this point of view and, hearing their point of view.
But he says he's surprised many in his community have come to ask him tough questions about race. Some joining him to keep the movement going.
It's 2020. We're supposed to have an open mind about things, we're raising a new generation. I want my kids to want to love like everybody. I don't see any reason not to.
Kaniga believes if more people are willing to listen to different ideas and vote, this national spark for change will have a lasting impact.
We have to be uncomfortable if we want change.
In Dripping Springs, Gabriela Vidal, CBS Austin News. It's at this community mailbox on Rotherham Drive where Austin police say a Good Samaritan found a female baby lying on the ground. Now, Austin police are still trying to search for the identity of the mother and are hoping that anyone with information will come forward.
I have no clue who it is or why they did what they did, but I'm going to do my best to try to find out who it was.
People living along Rotherham Drive are seeking answers after Austin police found a baby abandoned near a community mailbox.
Literally gives me goosebumps when you say that.
Police say it was around 7:35 Tuesday morning when a Good Samaritan initially discovered the baby crying by the mailbox. Aaliyah Schertz says she and her son passed by the same area roughly an hour before.
Did not see or hear anything that sounded like a baby or a young woman potentially carrying a baby.
Police say the baby was less than 12 hours old when they found her, and they do not believe the child was born in a medical facility.
And we can assure everybody that the child is safe, the child is well.
But police are worried about the mother's health and well-being, given information they learned from the baby's medical exam.
A child has come into this world, and we know absolutely nothing about the family. Our radar is, can we find out who this mother is to make sure that they're okay?
While neighbors wonder why someone left a child, Schertz believes there's more to the story.
That maybe the mother was under duress in some sort of way, or was endangered, or knew this was going to be the safest place for whatever reason. And I just hope that the mother's doing okay as well.
Today, Austin police did not specify whether they're pursuing any charges in this case, as it is still under investigation. They say their priority is the mother's well-being and health and safety. Now again, Austin police are looking for anyone with information to call their tip line. Reporting live in Northeast Austin, Gabriela Vidal, CBS Austin News.
My heart just sunk.
That's the reaction both Liz Guevara and Chad Truitt had when they saw Taylor Accord was arrested for sexually assaulting 2 young girls.
I saw his name and immediately saw the address, and I'm like, no, it can't be.
I forgot what I was doing, I couldn't focus.
Their son was 4 months old when he started in-home daycare at Accord's home on Deerfoot Drive, a daycare run by Accord's wife.
I trusted her with my son. When we interviewed, we interviewed with both of them.
Accord is facing charges for allegedly abusing a 4-year-old girl in June of 2017 and a 2-year-old girl in November of 2019.
And they just seemed like such normal, happy family. And you don't expect this to happen.
Police believe Accord abused the victims inside the daycare when separating the victims from the other children. Liz says she took her son out of the in-home daycare in June 2019 because she noticed he was being left unattended or alone with other children.
It happened 3 times, and at the 3rd time I was like, no.
With the news of Accord's arrest, their worst fears are now playing in their head.
Now I'm like, did it happen to my son? Did it happen to the little girls that were there while my son was there?
My daughter's 4 years old.
And at some point, she was going to be going there too.
Both parents say if the allegations are true, they wonder if the person caring for their son knew about the abuse.
Well, if he actually did it, then I would want him to pay for what he did. And if she knew about it,
she should get the time.
She should get prosecuted as well.
While Accord's charges are pending a trial, the Texas Department of Family Protective Services is also conducting an investigation into the daycare. Once those findings are complete, the Department of Health and Human Services will determine if the daycare center complied with state standards and what actions must be taken. Gabriela Vidal, CBS Austin News.
This is going to be a little Joey pouch, for the baby kangaroos.
It was Courtney Galladay's 2020 resolution to learn how to crochet.
It's going to be you make a big rectangle and then fold it in half into a square and then kind of weave the sides in.
Now she's found a new purpose for that goal.
I saw a couple videos of and pictures of baby kangaroos whose moms had died in the fires, and they seemed so helpless.
More than 1 billion animals are believed to have been killed in the Australian bushfires since starting in the fall.
I looked at the map and this just keeps spreading, all over the country. I didn't realize how bad it was until just a few days ago.
Deborah Watts was born in Australia and wanted to do something to help those animals who were badly burned and are now living without their habitat.
And I found this page where people were making blankets, koala mittens, joey pouches, beds, by sewing, knitting, crocheting.
She created her own group here in Austin, Central Texas Rescue Crafters Connect. That's how Galladay got involved, and now the group has grown to more than 100 other members.
It's just very surprising to me that, so many people are involved in this.
The items made by the group will then be sent to a regional hub in New Mexico and then shipped out to Australia, where animals need it the most.
When a lot of people feel so helpless right now about it.
In Northwest Austin, Gabriela Vidal, CBS Austin News.